If you follow powerlifting, you know that the IPF has changed its rules when it comes to bench pressing. There are many different opinions on this and different explanations as to why this change may have needed to be made. But one of the best videos I've watched kind of breaking this rule change down is by Zack Telander, and I'm going to be going over some of his breakdown today, try to dig a little bit deeper into what he said about the rule change. But before we get into this video, one, if you haven't seen his video of the breakdown of the rule, definitely go over there and watch his video. It's a really good explanation of what's going on. Two, even though this rule change was made in the IPF, the rule change does not apply to powerlifting federations such as the USPA. So we might start to see powerlifters head over to the USPA instead of adjusting to the IPF's rule change. Let's get into this video.
The 81 centimeter marks, and the whole of the four fingers must be in contact with the 81 centimeter marks if maximum grip is used. The use of the reverse grip is forbidden. Now, this is where we saw the biggest issue before the change. No matter what the weight class was, we had people going max grip. So then we'd have completely limited range of motion. And we have this, again, ridiculous arch. So then the...
I do want to point out here, even though you can shorten your range of motion if you spread your hands out to max length, it does not mean that the shorter range of motion is going to make the bench press easier for you to move weight or to move more weight at all. Some powerlifters like John Hack, for example, they bench press fine with a closer grip, and it may even be more advantageous for them to bench press with a closer grip. And I'm guessing this is because it lowers the risk of injury by bringing more triceps into the bench press. The reason I say this is because John Hack is bench pressing almost 600 pounds, maybe even more at this point, honestly, which is almost 3 times his body weight. I could see someone at that size trying to move that much weight, putting themselves at risk for something like a pec tear if they go too far wide in their grip when they're bench pressing.
In the next page. So these two lifts up top are going to be good lifts. Basically says that the failure to lower the underside of both elbow joints level with or below the top surface of each respective shoulder joint. So that's basically what they're looking like. These are two good lifts. And then we see the ridiculous arches. Failure to lower the underside of both elbow joints level with or below the top surface of each respective shoulder joint. I mean, look at this chick right here. All right, now
here, obviously, Telander is just explaining the breakdown of what's acceptable in competition and what's not. But even here, I'm not going to lie, that top picture still doesn't look like proper depth according to what the IPF is expecting. To me, it looks like one side of the body's lifter is stronger than the other, and it looks like he's shifting the weight to one side, causing his elbow to sag more, which allows him to hit depth. The left side looks fine. Well, the left or the right. I can't tell right now, but one of the sides does not look like it's hitting depth. As you can see, one side is clearly hitting depth, but the other side, it doesn't look like it's hitting depth at all. But with that said, and what I'm trying to say is, I wonder if that's going to play a part in how the IPF gauges elbow depth. Do both elbows have to be at least parallel with the shoulder joint, or just one side?
Most ridiculous bench setup. Look at this. Is this a dude or a chick? I don't know. Look at hold on. I mean, this is what was happening in powerlifting.
Now, if there was a sumo stance bench press, this would be it. I don't know what the hell this is, and I don't know how it helps you bench press more weight. Going over this, we know that bench pressing with an arch in your back is obviously going to help you bench press more weight. But why does elbow depth matter in the first place? And why did the IPF make a rule change with where your elbows need to be in relation to your shoulder joint? Well, when your elbows go below parallel, it reduces how much force you put out when you're bench pressing. And if you're somebody with a weak bench press for whatever reason, obviously you're going to do whatever you can to move more weight. It's the same thing with squat, right? You may be able to move more weight by not going parallel. For example, doing a quarter squat instead of hitting full depth, you'll probably squat more weight doing a quarter squat than if you were to go below parallel. In powerlifting, while it's about moving as much weight as possible, Powerlifting is just evolving as a sport. More people are watching and they want to see true displays of strength. If people start to question whether powerlifters are moving a lot of weight due to manipulating techniques and rules instead of strength, it could be bad for the sport. Personally, I think this is a good rule change. It's going to keep competitors in check, and this rule change shouldn't affect many people within the sport. I saw somewhere that I think 90 to 95% of powerlifters, this rule change won't affect. I don't know how true that is, but even if it is true, I think that there's more context, because if the 5% that are affected are the elite powerlifters, it's going to have a huge effect on the sport. Now, not being able to place your feet on the bench press, I don't know if that was really necessary. As far as I know, a lifter placing their feet on the bench prior to lifting is just to make sure that they maintain a tight position, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's something there that I'm not looking at. Now, while most of what Telander is saying I agree with and I understand, I even agree and understand with the next thing that he's about to say. To a certain extent, I say a certain extent because I don't think what he said applies to powerlifting.
Second point to that is, no matter what the rules are, the winners find a way to win. The gamers find a way to game. You know, I know everyone rags on CrossFit, but there's one thing I actually like about it. It's that it is kind of a shit show, and the winners always kind of end up at the top. No matter how much CrossFit HQ up.
He says winners always win.
The way that their events are scheduled.
That's pretty much true. The best are always going to find a way to be the best. The way I understood this, though, is that he's saying even with this rule change, the guys at the top of the powerlifting game will still remain there. So I looked from the years 2018 to 2022, the top powerlifters by dot score in the 198 plus weight class on open powerlifting. And Yuri Belkin was really the only guy who was able to stay at the top for 2 years in a row. My point being, the people at the top of the powerlifting game, whenever it is, they're not going to stay there for long. Now that the sport is growing and there's more talent coming in, it's going to be even harder to stay at the top. Now these guys have to adjust to a rule change that may change how they've been bench pressing for years. And I think some of these guys at the top, especially bench pressing crazy amounts of weight, we may see their numbers drop significantly with this rule change. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about this rule change in the comment section. How do you feel about it? And is there anything that I missed in this video? Leave it down in the comment section. Also, again, check out Zack's video. Dude is hilarious. He gives good information as well, which is rare. It's very rare to see a type of mix like that on YouTube. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure that you do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later.